Thank you, Dr. Awosika, for joining us tonight. It does look to me that, like people now saying, is youth o'clock. Are you on that bandwagon? Or what exactly inspired your move to wanting to become a senator?
How you doing, Sherry? Happy Easter. Yes, indeed, the youth o'clock notion has been going around, and a lot of people catching that fire and wanting to get involved in the process. For me, getting involved in the process of elective office has been a build-up. It wasn't just an overnight decision. It's something I prepared myself for a number of years now, and I feel like now is the time where our country is at a very, very critical point where we need new ideas, we need fresh ideas, we need bold people to come out. And if we don't step forward, we won't be given the chance. And I think our country, from history, has been led by young people. It's not new. The idea of the youth taking office is not a new ideology. Prior to our democracy, a lot of the leaders took office at a very young age, and they did a good job in getting our country from A to B. So I think now is a time where the younger generation has kind of stepped aside for the longest time, and now I think they've come to the realization that they're going to have to take chances on governance, and they're going to have to, be in charge of their own destiny. So for me, it's very simple. I've prepared myself for this particular moment, and it's not really about the green chamber or the red chamber. It's about the responsibility to get involved in government, responsibility to take our generation that's been put aside for the longest, the responsibility to give and to contribute back to society in every way that I can. And that's what I plan to do, and that's what we're going to do.
So I see you as someone who has made his mark running businesses from hospitality to pharmaceuticals and to medicine, to entertainment. You've had your hands on different kind of businesses, and you want to leave all of that and focus on politics. Some people will say that's a big risk. Do you see it as such?
Everything in life is a risk. For me, I've spent the last 13 years dedicating myself to the private sector. By virtue of doing that, I've been able to see all the loopholes and the issues. It hasn't been a smooth journey over the last 13 years. We've had to really, really fight for where we are. And I believe, taking that experience into government and into governance, we're able to lay a good foundation for those who want to get involved in business, those who want to get involved in building businesses and helping our economy and private sector. We're able to look inward as far as where we were when we started and where we need to be. For me, that's the reason why I'm willing to put everything on the line. And, with building businesses, just like in politics, there's a time and season for everything. For me, I've always wanted to build businesses that would outlive me. It's not about me. It's not about my name. It's not about my ambition. It's about seeing things thrive and contributing my own quota to the nation, helping with the employment deficit. All this I've been able to do as a CEO, as a business person, and I'll continue to do that from a distance by getting involved in elections, getting involved in governance, representing the people properly. And I believe if we're able to do that constructively, it will have a ripple effect on the private sector and even businesses that we've been able to build. So ultimately, this is the bigger picture, to able to equalize opportunities for everyone, and that's the reason why we're getting involved in this whole system.
So, are we going into your understanding of the task ahead? Should you be the elected candidate? And should you get the flag should you be the flag bearer, and should you be elected into the Senate? But first and foremost, you said you are prepared for this. What do you mean?
So for me, I spent the last 13 years in different industries. I am a heavy investor in the healthcare sector. I have a manufacturing plant in Ondo State. I'm a heavy investor in hospitality across the country, from the north to the east to the west to the south. I'm a heavy investor in power and energy. these are major sectors in the economy that I've seen the struggle real time. I have been through real life experiences. I know how long it took. It took 10 years to get my manufacturing plant up from the concept to production. That time frame could have been shortened. There were a lot of red tape and a lot of bottlenecks that we had to go through that I believe going into government, we've seen some of these challenges in the private sector. We have the experience, we have the network, we know what it takes, we know the issues that we had. I believe we can use that experience and use that energy into public sector and make life a lot easier, ease of doing business, and ultimately it affects our economy, it affects our people, and it makes us a progressive nation. And I think that I've prepared myself across all these major sectors, and going into the Senate, going into government, I believe I'll be able to represent the people correctly, and I'll be able to really engage community, really be community conscious about some of these different challenges that we face, and represent them properly, and also bring new opportunities and new ideas, and it's all about the approach. So for me, we'll be going in there with a new approach. We'll be going in there with a more strategic approach to how laws are implemented, how laws are made, and the kind of laws to be made. So all this we're going to bring to the table and more.
Okay, so when we heard that you threw your heart in the ring, and this is one of the reasons why I spoke with my producer to get across to you, in the sense that a 36-year-old, you're just a year above the age mark for that seat. And it's interesting that it does look like you're taking up a challenge. You're challenging the status quo. For a lot of people who have been challenging and asking young people to take up the challenge and get up and stand up and be counted in the politics of Nigeria. So we were interested in speaking with you, and also to understand whether or not you are just one out of several youths who will be doing this, or there is going to be a rush of young people in this respect. But what you have explained tonight does look to me that you being a CEO, you've been running your own business, but the business of lawmaking is slightly different. It could be frustrating if you want something done for your own people because you're a lawmaker, you're not in the executive. Do you understand the intricacies of what it means? Because I look at some of the manifesto that you have put out in the public, you're talking so much like an executive, not much as a lawmaker to be.
I mean, I do understand the limits and the restrictions you have as a lawmaker, but I also do understand what it is to represent your people properly. As far as being a senator, you have 6 local governments across your senatorial district. This is a huge volume, a huge population of people that you need to represent appropriately. I believe in collaboration. I think one thing that the young people in Nigeria are going to do differently as far as government is concerned is collaborations across party lines, across offices. So I believe a good collaboration between the Senate, the House of Representatives, the House of Assembly, the executive at the State House level would see a good collaboration between all of us, new ideas, in terms of moving our district, moving our state forward. So even though I might not have budget provisions to do certain things, I believe representing the people as far as lawmaking, and also, a true representation, also bringing my ideas, bringing my network, bringing my vision, and collaborating with key executive players that can help move some of these ideas forward. I think being a senator and having a seat on that table would give them a listening ear, and we'll also be able to exchange ideas. And I believe together we'll be able to move not just our district forward, but the entire state. And I think even as it stands, the House of Reps members that are currently representing us across the senatorial district have done a good job with doing that. I mean, my local government has an extremely good record as in the last 4 years is concerned as far as infrastructure, development, and so many things that the rep member has been able to use his network and use his position to get things across to the people, to bring prosperity, to bring employment, to bring infrastructure. While he's still limited to his office, he's been able to use that position. And I think this is what young people are going to bring to the table. We're going to think outside the box, how we can truly represent our people so they can feel the impact directly. And I think that's what I'm going to be bringing to the table, and that's what's going to be different about our generation and how we do things.
We here at China Salvation will be looking out for your likes who are taking up that responsibility to stand up and be counted. But the question is, for your party, the APC, do you think you stand a chance as a young people? Considering what I'm hearing, that there's a long list of those who are establishment people who have queued up for this same seat for years.
Yes, that's a very good question. For me, for those who understand the dynamics in Ondo State and how the Ondo politics is, our electorate, as far as the Ondo people, they are very, very independent-minded. They are very objective. They are very enlightened. This is the electorate. And this is evident, and this has been evident in previous governments. Even as much as our most current leader and our governor, who is the leader of our party, he came in through a very, very objective, despite all the odds. He was able to scale through because the people wanted him, and this has been evident in numerous elections, across our state. So I think this is not going to be different this time around. I think the people are going to make their choice, irrespective of whatever portfolios or whatever giants or whatever Goliaths that it might be. I think the people are going to think very carefully about what they want as far as representation, and they're going to make their choice. And I think their choices are going to be respected, and we look forward to what that's going to be.
Now, so how much of your people do you understand and know? Because these are some of the criticisms coming from your own local district, saying you are a son of the land, but how much of the language or your dialect do you speak? How much of your people do you know? What can you say in this respect?
So for me, I have spent the last 4 years in doing philanthropical work as far as the Ondo Central is concerned. And that has made me connect more with the people, be community conscious, engage the community. And I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot more to learn. I happen to be, I was fortunate enough to school abroad. So because of that, there's a little bit of a, language barrier as far as the local dialect is concerned. But I've also done an amazing job, in my own personal opinion, of, learning the languages, across the Central, because it's not just about my own local dialect. There are different languages across. And because I want to represent the people truly, I'm truly interested in making sure I can communicate in whatever, whatever language, it might be. So I'm doing that. But as far as understanding the challenges that we have as far as the Central is concerned, I think I have a pretty good view of what that is. As a philanthropist, as Tola Awosika Foundation, we have done our own, and we continue to do our own contributions as far as solving some of those problems in the education sector, in the rural areas, as far as basic infrastructure like water, electricity. Those things are issues that exist and will continue to exist, and we're facing them one day at a time. And I believe, given the opportunity to serve, I have a holistic understanding of a lot of those challenges, and I believe going in there would have would have the capacity to be able to solve a lot of those challenges very, very quickly, because it's not a very difficult thing to do. It's all about understanding, listening to the people, giving them feedback on what can be done, looking at things from a broader perspective, with new ideas, with a more strategic approach. And I think we'll get the job done that way.
On a final note, perhaps the essence and the purpose of your invitation tonight is because you represent a segment of the voting population in Nigeria that is seen as the largest and perhaps the most influential, but unfortunately are laid back on election day. You are going to first and foremost be faced with a collegiate process of election. That is the party primary, which of course you have to be entrenched in the local politics of your party to be able to emerge victorious, except if you have what they called the godfathers who can help you out in that respect. But on a fun note, in the context of what I've portrayed, of what I've said now, how easy is it for a young person to get into politics? If you can share your few minutes of experience, a few months of experience getting into the fray with fellow young people who are still thinking about getting into politics ahead of 2023.
So I think young people have always been involved in politics, whether directly or indirectly. You have a lot of young people who have served politicians for many years, who have been aides, whether it's a special advisor or a personal assistant or a senior special advisor, whatever the case might be. This is still indirectly being involved in the process. Now, as far as an elective office, it's a completely different ballgame, like you rightly said. You need to be ready. I'm ready in the sense that it comes with a lot of challenges. First of all, you need to be able to give up all your time. You need to be able to give up your resources. You need to be able to have a thick skin for different things that will come your way. But I think more importantly, on a more positive note, you need to be resilient. You need to be passionate about making change, true representation. You need to really be going in there for the right reasons. For me, I'm not going into politics because I want to make a name for myself. I'm not going into politics because I'm trying to enrich myself. By the special grace of God, you know, in all sense of humility, we've attained a lot of those things at a very young age. For us, right now, is about impact. It's about encouraging the younger generation of people who want to get involved. And I believe, if you know, when this process ends, you know, we would see an influx of people because there will be an example, there will be a reference point. And I would stand tall to always encourage whoever it is that comes after me to get involved in this process, because I know how tedious it is, I know how expensive it is, I know how, you know, it can be a little bit imbalanced. But you know, we live to keep fighting. The people who are in office today also had their own battles to face, also had their own challenges, and they stuck by it, and they did what they had to do. This time, we're not a generation that gives up. We're a generation that goes after success. So this shouldn't be any different. If you're truly compassionate about getting involved and making a difference and ensuring your country can move from height to height, now is the time. This is our plan. And we'll always be willing to welcome anyone that wants to get involved in that process. And God willing, you know, this will be a successful journey for us, and we'll live to tell the story and encourage many others to come after.
Dr. Tola Awosika, businessman, now turned politician, who has thrown his hat in the ring for the Ondo Central Sanitary District. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight, and thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you, Shem.
Well.